Okay, Lynn, coming on down from PRIZM, a homegrown Southeast Asian company talking about marketing and brand building. How do you build your brand across the region? Lynn, thanks for joining us.
Right. Thanks, everybody. Hi, my name is Lynn. So I'm here to talk about a topic about how we're going to build a brand for most of you SMEs out there who's doing e-commerce websites on your own brands, and also trying to establish channel distributions cross borders. I think it's imperative right now since COVID. You know, everyone's buying behavior has changed dramatically. And cross-border selling is actually so much easier now that everyone's trained to know how to make the click on the website and then go pick up the merchandise on any locations they have access to. So I think today will be a good topic for us to broach in, especially in terms of digital marketing solutions, and also on what kind of tips that when you go across a different location, how could you localize the content, and how could you localize the brand awareness to the different people you're going to communicate that to. Could I trouble you to move the slides along, please, Josh? And the next page, please. So I'll use this case study in particular because as the digital marketing agency, we have so many cases and SMEs that come to us with different pain points. And I could see a lot of them usually have the similar pain points. So I'll bring this one in particular out here. This is a swimwear company that was founded in Singapore. It first started as an online swimwear company. And then after that, they decided to say, hey, you know what? I'm starting to get a lot of requests cross borders. But however, have it being an intimate product like a swimwear and being part of the larger group of an intimate category, a lot of women just doesn't feel right if you just buy a size online and then they said, you know, I want to be able to give it a try, or at least I'll be able to have a function of a return and then be able to do a function of exchange. So that's primarily their pain point. And I said, okay, now I can activate my online sales, but the next thing is I have to start thinking women across the world is going to start buying and having these functions of exchange. And how do I get outreach to all these women in Asia and Southeast Asia to have access to that? So and if you go on to the next page, please. And the next page. So besides being having gone on to New York and Paris Fashion Week, where they built their branding, and then therefore the next point where a lot of sales that's coming through, there was a large number of Indonesian women that's buying the swimwear. And that's when we started looking and said, okay, besides putting out the products into the different distribution channels in the shopping malls in Jakarta, which is the tier 1 city in Indonesia, we also then connected the clients onto the different social media channels. So there's Facebook, Instagram, and also on the website and through the offline channels. We also then went on to the social media apps. Next, please. And these also are one of the stockists that we have also put on to most of the brands into the offline channels in Bali, because Bali being one of the popular travel destination, it's one of the easy places that the swimwear category could be sold to. And then again, using our social media apps on the digital marketing side, and then that's where we have access to telling people where they can have access to all these stockists. Next, please. And funny enough, besides using Instagram and Facebook, one of the key app that we kind of use a lot is also online. I think most of the women likes to use Line because I think it's a more familiar tool for them, where they can also have a certain function in there where you can use your native language. And that's also one of the key important information when you are going to a certain market in Southeast Asia. You need to know what exactly they use in terms of their messaging app, and also in a form of how they get their communications across to your salespeople sitting in your brand. Next. Next, please. And I'll give you 3 tips here on broadening of the brand awareness on what we did. Besides using influencers and a lot of blog content on the particular website, we kind of use not just the local influencer. For example, when we went into Indonesia, we have to tap across also to Thailand and so to tap also to Philippines, because Southeast Asia is, a very transition area where a lot of people travel around the region. So like people from Singapore could travel to Thailand, could also travel to Philippines, and hopping around different regions for the resorts. And therefore, it's imperative to spread awareness, not just on one region, but Southeast Asia as a whole. So social media messaging is important. When you put on Facebook or on your Instagram, you need to be able to put all these messages, sometimes in their local languages, or even be very sensitive towards their different nuances on their culture. So I think this is one way, an important tip to spread brand awareness is using Southeast Asian influencers as a whole. Next. And then we also work with the brand collaboration here with two local brands in Jakarta, Duma and Love and Flag. I think at most times when the seller wants to go into a different market, you need to know that being famous on your website or being famous or popular on your social media is not enough. Then it's having collaboration work with your domestic markets brands that would be very highly recommended, because usually through referrals and with their own customer database, you are able to gain a wider reach to their customer set, and also knowing what resonates to the brand that you're trying to bring to that local market. And next, and the third tip that we used was also to be able to work with the local retailers. For example, if you're a web brand, an online brand that is trending really hugely online, a lot of retailers will be looking out for your brand and willing to work on a pop-up with you. And on that perspective, when you are sending out a press release to their local magazines and also to the local retailers, and reacting to some of their key promotional dates and festivals on their calendar for most of the shopping malls, they are also very proactive in engaging with new brands that's coming from overseas. And that in particular during COVID, we have learned a lot of super malls in the region could be in Thailand, could be in Indonesia. Every one of them is outreaching to new brands. And I think this is a very key an outreach for a lot of brands who are still working on e-commerce. I think it's another way of getting engaging with the retailers, because if the retailers help with the shopping malls and with the outreach of the database that they have access to, it kind of propel the brand a little bit more into the wider scope. Next, please. And lastly, I'm going to just walk you through some of the common pitfalls that we have done in content ads advertising. Indonesia on a whole, compared to the rest of the region, it's still being a very Muslim country. We have to be very careful with the words and the pictures that we have used in terms of communicating on social media. Certain ads probably couldn't get through. If you're a little bit more provocative on visuals, you probably have to focus a lot more on style and designs, on the language of describing them. And also do not ignore user-generated content, UGC. It's imperative, because not just the key KOLs that are being having a big say to in today's world, because people are also getting very afraid of being cancelled. So UGC meaning that if you have your organic reviews from your own customer database, or from people who have experienced a very good experience on your brand or on the place that they have bought the products, it's important to use this information and then retweet it out or repost them out, or be able to let people know that your brand is approachable, not just being online brand. You're not approachable, they can't get to you, they can't do the refunds, but you want to be able to let them know, hey, we are here, we can hear you, there are people using our brand, there are people coming back to us. So it gives a very good and a positive community messaging between the brand and the consumers. Next, please. And also, again, targeting the right target audience, you need to know the age group in a particular market. Indonesia is a big market. And then you need to target the middle class, the middle working class. There's a certain age that you can target to. And in terms of this product case, it's on a swimwear. You want to be able to target the liberal cities within the country, which is like Bali. And then be very informed what are the places that you could not target, say Sumatra, which is extremely sensitive in cultural nuances, and then be able to time all your campaigns in the right manner. So like, you be cognizant that if it's a Muslim holiday, Ramadan is coming around the corner, maybe Bali is a better way, because everyone is escaping the Ramadan, who's not celebrating Ramadan is probably going down to the Bali islands where they can take their holidays out, and that's where you target your campaigns towards for that particular period. Next. Positive themes. We have experienced multiple times with a product of such a category. You need to be really positive thinking. You know, you talk about summer wardrobe. You are not just outright putting out the two-piece, the bikini out with sexy ladies in the back end, showing like, you know, you can go surfing, diving for water sports in the Bali. And also, you know, going for kaftan choices that you can be, you know, after swimming, you can come out, you put on a nice kaftan over, and you're able to create a poolside to cafe. So these kind of marketing materials are important for most of the marketeers or brand owners out there to have very positive themes. Again, social media is strong, social media is powerful, but you have to be very careful on times that you where you don't want to be canceled out for things that you don't really have a good editing function to it. We don't have editors looking after it. You might get the wrong message out, or you might not have be able to be empowered for crisis management. So I think it's important to be positive every time you send out a message out into the market. Your visuals have to be positive, the themes have to be positive, and be very cognizant. Southeast Asia is a big market, but you need to know what that market have for their cultural nuances so that you localize the content. Next, please. And messages as well. These days, especially for this category, when we are talking, we want it to be very positive about the sizes, all sorts of women, and you want to talk about healthy living, wellness, and body positivity. So this is something that, again, you have to localize to the market, but in a general scope of the whole wide world, you need to have positive messages to go out to all the consumers out there and to all the retailers who's looking to distribute your brand as well. You need to have your brand needs to stand out a lot more positive in Southeast Asia through the right positive messaging. Next. So, well, I'd like to introduce my, Josh is prompting me to introduce my agency. So PRIZM Group, we have branches in Singapore, Hong Kong, New Zealand, and China. We have been around for 10 years, originating from Hong Kong. Singapore is new. We started 18 months ago. We have been working, a lot of our portfolio comes from O2O. We use a lot of digital solutions for helping a lot of merchants with their O2O, offline to online and offline to online. We are also helping a lot of B2B companies who are looking to do exhibitions across borders to help them find distributors and franchising opportunities. And one of our key positioning in where we are right now, and where I'm talking to a lot of trade organizations in this part of the world, is on Chinese marketing, knowing that China is not yet open, but yet there's a lot of Chinese people who are still living outside China, who are using their own social media ecosystem like WeChat, Weibo, Little Red Book, TikTok. And we are using a lot of all these WeChat Chinese ecosystem to outreach to Chinese customers living in Southeast Asia. If you have any requests that you want to look into, in particular for Chinese consumer living outside of China, I'll be the right call. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thanks, Josh.
Rosmarin. I'm going to say it as if I'm Italian, I guess. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Again, have a great day.
Thank you.